So I'm going to discuss something that I have not, I don't think I honestly, I don't think I ever spoke about this with anybody. I'm fairly certain I put it in writing. I may have talked about it, well, I may have, many, many years afterwards from the time frame of it actually occurring. So, those who were alive at the time and old enough to remember, because there were some who were in utero, hadn't been born yet, and or were far too young to remember the actual events of the day of 9/11 in 2001. Obviously, it's understood that it was extremely chaotic for a lot of individuals and a lot of people. I have discussed and I have written about how I had made my way to the office to speak with the Air Force Tech Sergeant from Lackland Air Force Base. I have discussed, and again, I didn't really go over it much realistically in a talking way until more recently. Not because I didn't care, it was just more along the lines of I didn't feel that it was something that everybody at the time needed to know. Not saying any denouncing of the Air Force guy, not denouncing any of that stuff, just more along the lines that there were other things that were important to get taken care of at that time, like safety. For an example, safety was kind of important. Just saying. So, after a few days of speaking with the Air Force Tech Sergeant, I had emailed a radio station that I remembered listening to when I was younger, when I grew up in New Jersey. And I had actually contacted that radio station as a teenager. I don't remember whether I was in middle school or if I was in high school. I think I was in high school. I think I was going to St. John Vianney High School at the time. But I could have been in middle school. I can't remember. I know that the Z Morning Zoo, I know that there are people who know what I'm talking about from the East Coast, although apparently they're a little bit further out now. Cool. But they were in either the Caribbean or in Bermuda or something like that, and one of the females on the Z Morning Zoo show, I would listen to the radio every morning. Like, it was just one of those, oh, these guys are so funny. They're so funny. I like them. And so I had called in because one of the females had wanted to know what happened during an episode of Friends. And I was actually, the irony was, I was actually allowed to stay up late that night. So I was actually able to watch that episode of Friends. My biological parents were extremely strict when it came to my curfew, bedtime, all that sort of stuff. So being able to watch Friends, ironically, the night before the Z Morning Zoo show, I was like, oh, yay! Because my biological parents did not get cable. The only time I got to see cable TV was when I was either at my babysitter's house or my friends' houses. That was it. My biological parents did the antenna with the rabbit ear type thing, with the grounding rod in the house, that whole thing. And so, even when they moved to Texas, Mike would come over to my house and be like, oh, you mind if I just watch some TV? Go right ahead. And then we'd go outside and smoke and talk for a little bit, and then every now and then he'd just go, I want to watch this. All right, go ahead. I got to take care of my children anyway, so, enjoy whatever. I'm not watching it. I have no problem, you know, like I am the way I am. Anyway, so back in I think it was the 1990s. Yeah, it was the 1990s. By that time, I was a teenager, and so I call in, and the equivalent of an operator or dispatcher, the male asked, what do you want? I was like, well, he didn't say it like that. I was like, oh, I'm calling in because the female, I can't remember her name, she wanted to know about the Friends episode, and I actually got to watch it. And the guy was like, okay, I'll put you on hold, and then I'll patch you through. Cool. Awesome. And so I got patched through. The Z Morning Zoo show cast had asked me what happened on the episode Friends, and I just laid it out. Just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And they were just like, oh, like that's extremely precise. And I was like, well, you said you wanted to know, so that's what happened, there's what happened. I do not remember what the episode was, I'll be honest. So they were like, well, we really appreciate you actually giving us like a detailed account and not, meandering off side to side or whatever it was that they were accustomed to. I was just like, okay, cool. And one of the males on the show said, well, we got a prize for you because we really appreciate that, because like they were really into watching the show. I wasn't allowed to watch it as much again. And so they said, hold up, the whole cast, hold on, we're gonna put you through to the guy who does that stuff, and he's gonna take your information, and we're gonna send you like a really big, cool package. Like, we wanna like seriously hook you up. Cool. Awesome. I'm so excited, like, yay. And so they put me on hold. I get, dispatched back to the guy, and he was like, okay, so what's your full name, the whole form type stuff. And like they talked about some massively huge prize, and I was like, well, then he goes, and how old are you, or what is your birthday, and I tell him my birthday, and he goes, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, no. He didn't giggle. It was just funny because, he was shocked. He was legitimately like, what do you mean I think I was either 13 or 14 years old at the time. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, no, like you sound like you're in your 20s, and the way you explained everything, we only get like only older callers like give that sort of, what do you mean you're in high school? I'm in high school. I go to St. Javier High School, so I'm in high school. And he was just like, I can only send you a t-shirt. I can't legally send you what you actually earned. Like the prize like that we want to give you, we can't give to you right now because you are legally too young. Oh man. And he's like, well, now you sound like high school. Well, I didn't even know that there was a prize, but that's right. He goes, well, we'll try to hold on to it, and then when like you're old enough, we could hook you up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Oh man. Well, I mean, that's cool. I'll get a t-shirt. And but I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to wear the t-shirt. And he's like, why not? And I was like, well, because, I mean, I don't want to mess it up. And he was just like, okay, it'll look like this. And it looked like the tide, but like in a whirlpool, like the colors, like the blue and orange, but in like a swirl pattern. And I had the Z and then the 100 on it. But he sent it in like a 3XL or something like that. I was like, yeah, I'll go swimming in that, ironically, it looking like a whirlpool. And so I was ecstatic. I was like, did you know I was on the radio? And some of the kids were like, well, when were you on the radio? It was Z100. And they were like, we were listening. We didn't like like hear you on the radio. Did you hear them talking about the Friends episode and wanting, yeah, that was me. And they were just, that was you? Yeah. I even recorded myself. Like I got a little tape and I like, hey, cool, I did this. You know, no big deal, but you know, like it was a big deal to me because I didn't think I was going to get through. I've tried to get through before. It was the first time I actually got through. And so they were just like, well, you know, prove it. And I was like, okay, well, I said this, and this. And they were like, yeah, okay, whatever. So then the next day, I actually had to bring in the tape. And I'm dating myself, I know, but I already have. I brought in my Walkman. And I played the tape, and everyone was just like, oh my God, Susan, you actually were on, oh my God. It's like, you know, cool. I don't know if that, I mean, obviously the guy believed me, but I think that he was a little bit like, no, that, like, wait. Well, anyway, fast forwarding in that regard to the events of 9/11, and obviously the New York Z100 Z Morning Zoo was based in New York. And so after having spoken with the Air Force Tech Sergeant and all that sort of stuff, a few days went by, and it was just before my son had to be hospitalized because of developing a temperature. And I was like, oh, I need to do this. And I did do this when I wound up in Illinois. I did send an email. Like, I miss you guys. Like, I really enjoyed listening to you, but I'm in Illinois now. And Crystal Lake, not near Chicago. And so, like, I hope you guys are well and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, but in regards to after 9/11 occurred, it was one of those, I sent an email. It was one of those, I don't remember whether or not I had brought up that I had been the person who called about the Friends episode or not. But either way, I did explain that I grew up in New Jersey and had listened to them as a teenager and had, you know, had hoped that they and theirs were able to stay safe and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, it was just one of those, I remember this, so let me go and do this, so that way, you know, there is some, like, hopefully something, you know, more positive, because obviously with them being in New York, there was the aspects of being surrounded by all of that was going on. And so it was just one of those, you know, I mean, I'm thinking and I'm praying for you guys and hoping, you know, everything's going to be okay and hopefully the situation will get cleared up and all that stuff. And it was a Yahoo account, I think, at the time. I think that was the 46 one. And though it could have been peppermint, I think the first one when in Illinois was the peppermint, and then in Texas it was the 46 one. But just sent them that, and you know, I really didn't. It didn't really dawn on me that it would, you know, I mean, it wasn't like I was like, hey, I did this. It was just one of those, at that time, just, you know, and there were a few times that I randomly did that, you know, something, I'd be, again, listening to the radio, it's like, you know, miss listening to you guys, because like I know that you might have some new individuals there, but like the premise of the show and stuff like that, miss you guys, like, yeah, the East Coast sort of like joking and stuff like that. You know, I miss that. What I'm dealing with right now, I really miss that. So, you know, hope you guys are well. And I'd go over, I probably did repeatedly say the same. I grew up in New Jersey and da-da-da-da, and I had a drink on Palm Sunday in 2000, da-da-da-da. And I never did wind up getting a response, I admit that. But I kind of figured they probably got a few emails or whatever, them being a New York radio station. I was just one of those. You know, I didn't really discuss that, if ever. I don't know if I think I might have in person with maybe one person. Maybe. And I only say one person because that particular individual also is from New Jersey. Like family to me. And so, I think maybe one time I had asked him if he remembered C100, and I think we had talked about that. I'm not certain, but yeah, so, obviously, you know, it being a radio station, kind of like my issues with, like, I would never know if I met any of them in person ever, or any musician. I wouldn't know, because, you know, when listening to music on the radio, you don't, you know, see their picture. And I have bought, like, I used to have an iTunes account, and I don't know what I did with that. I have memory issues, but I did purchase a whole bunch of different music, and I would not know, like the albums, I would not know, because the little screen, itty bitty teeny tiny screen, and you know, and then, you know, plug it into the car thing and just, oh, I want to listen to that, or I'll make a playlist and I want to listen to that, and so would never know if I met Christina Aguilera. I would have no idea. Like, I've only recently, I mean, I did see pictures of her every now and then, but it was usually when walking by the magazine section. I was like, hey, she's pretty. Or like, I'd see a picture of like Paris Hilton and I think her sister Nikki or so. It's like, wow, I wish I could look like that. You know, like, wow, that, you know, see like Reba McEntire is like, oh, wow, I wish I could look like that. You know, like, well, other than that, no idea. No, I have no idea, like, what Tim McGraw looks like. I have no idea what Faith Hill looks like. I have no idea what Garth Brooks looks like. I have no, you know, like, and some of those would not have most likely been on the Z100. But some of them would. And so, you know, I have no idea, you know, but yeah, that was me. Although by now it might have been figured out. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know if that was ever a big thing or not, you know, to anybody else. But it was just one of those, I'm gonna do it. So, you know, but I didn't really talk about it because it was just one of those, well, you know. I know that one time, my now dead ex-husband had seen the Z100 shirt, and he was like, what is that? You know, because it was in a larger size. So then he thought I was cheating on him because I was going to give that shirt to someone. I was like, no, it's mine. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I earned that shirt. Like, I was supposed to get something else, but I was too young, so it's my shirt. No, it is what it is. Anyway, up until 2019, I had that t-shirt. because, you know, I held on to that because I was like, I need to not wash it. I need to have that irony in certain regards. And so, but yeah. Hi. And then the other one that I already had, so Sailor Moon only played on the TV at certain times. So I would wake myself up so I could watch Sailor Moon. And then, you know, I really didn't want to go back to sleep after that because I had to get ready for school. Well, around that time, either right before or right after Sailor Moon, I would listen to, what was the show? I think it was Howard Stern or something like that. I was like, that guy is funny. That guy is freaking hilarious. That is, that's awesome. That is funny. Like the female that's on there, freaking hilarious. I was just like, I like her. She got some sass to her. I like that. And she sets that up perfectly. That is greatness. That is greatness. I am a fan. I cannot remember her name. It is not to be disrespectful. But yeah, I acknowledge my weirdness. Though I guess, you know, if I can't be the only person who has heard of Howard Stern or the Z Morning Zoo show, but, you know, for certain individuals who have had issues with my sense of humor, I would stay awake after watching Sailor Moon. I'd get up early, listen to Howard Stern. So I guess started with Howard Stern to then go and listen to and watch Sailor Moon, you know, sometimes it was an hour, sometimes it was an hour and a half, depending on, I had to angle the TV just right, you know, because of where my biological parents' bedroom was, and then, you know, put it back. Couldn't have the audio too loud, had to be really, really, really careful on that, and then go back upstairs and then be able to listen to the Z Morning Zoo. So for people who need that understanding of my sense of humor, other than, you know, having grown up in New Jersey and the places that I grew up going to while growing up in New Jersey, there you go. Like, I'm sure that probably makes so much sense, so much more sense for people nowadays. Probably. And so, but yeah, in order to go watch Sailor Moon, so the house that I grew up in New Jersey was built in the early 1940s as a Cape May style house. So it's 2 stories. The stairs were wooden. And it didn't matter which step you took a step on, it was the original staircase, so you'd hear crick, 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 you know, that sort of stuff. So my biological parents' bedroom was downstairs. There was, so to give you an explanation, there was 2 bedrooms upstairs. And in the center part, in between the 2 bedrooms, right where the stairs were, because apparently the house is gone from there, there was a metal grate that you could see straight down into the center area of the downstairs region. In the downstairs region from that center area, the bedroom, my biological parents' bedroom was off to one side. Then there was the bathroom, the only bathroom in the house, mind you. And then the living room, the dining room, then the stairs to go up. But then the kitchen on the other side of the bedroom, and where the stairs were that went to the upstairs was a set of stairs that went down to the basement in that same like setup. So that metal grate, you had, at least I did, so that way I wasn't heard to go sneak down to watch Sailor Moon, I had to walk very carefully because within a like 3-foot section around where that grate was, again, is the original flooring, so you'd hear the crick, 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 sort of stuff. And so I had to like ninja that stuff. I had to be on my tippy toes. I had to like precisely know where I could and could not actually step because Mike was a light sleeper. So if I heard like his snore change slightly, it was, and then once it kicked up, I was like, okay. And so then by the time I got to the stairs, I had to hold on to the side of each of the wall, and I had to keep my, I had to keep my feet along the wall as well as my hands along the wall. So I had to walk down the stairs, not actually touching the stairs at all, because there was not a centimeter on those stairs that would not make a sound. And because of the way the flooring was for the stairs and then that open area, that open central area, it would echo. I learned that the hard way. I had to freeze because I had accidentally lost a little bit of my grip, and like one of my knees accidentally just grazed the stair, and it was like, oh, hold on. Ooh, that beating is not worth it. You know, the beating is not worth it. So, okay, hold on. And then I had to just, those who had certain similar upbringings understand, don't matter how much my muscles hurt right now. Hold the wall, hold it, not go move. Okay, he's asleep again. Slowly move down those stairs, just And then, you know, the irony is actually going up the stairs was far more difficult. Oh, it's so much more difficult because again, I couldn't step on the stairs. So after getting all the way down the stairs by using the wall on each side, and when I was lazy, the railing, I would randomly stick one of my ankles through it for like a little break sometimes. Just like, ooh, this is getting, gotta like, and there were a lot of stairs, so it wasn't like there were only like 5 stairs. There were like, I think there were like 15, 16, 20 stairs, something like that. It was a pain to get up, down and up the stairs. Then I'd go, I couldn't go in the central area. I had to go in the dining room area, and because of the way the floor was, once again, I had to ninja certain ways. And then after certain times, then I had to actually use the chairs to be able to not have the floor make sounds. I was just like, okay, I gotta be so ninja, like, okay. Nope, I don't. And then, you know, okay, got it right there. You know, and so I had to be supremely ninja. And then it didn't help that, like, the fish tank was right by the staircase. And all of the fish, whenever I went nearby, they were all like, blip, blip, blip. It's like, shh, don't you tattletale on me. Shh, because Mike had named one of the fish, and he called her Aunt Jemima, and she was a black molly, and instead of the black molly, like the average size was supposed to be 1 inch long, Aunt Jemima was 3.5, 4 inches long, and so, you know, that was the one Mike named, and I was just like, oh, and she was my fish. She was my fish. I'd put my finger at the top of the water. She'd give me kisses, little kisses. And it did not matter. And then I'd put my hand in the water, and she would go and swim. Like, I'd I'd curl my hand into a C, she'd sit in there. She'd just sit in there hovering, just like, yep, that's right. Mm-hmm. No big deal, you know. And then she'd chase away all of the other mollies. She'd, no, my mommy. Like that was it. She'd just sit there, and then whenever I would take my hand out of the water, she'd get mad. And she'd swim around a whole bunch and be, no. And so then I'd have to put my finger at the top of the water. She'd come and give kisses. I was like, yes, I see you. I actually did pet my pet fish. I literally pet the pet fish I had. Until Anna was like, oh, let's get convict fish. Why? Because convict fish, it'll add to the aquarium. I don't think that mollies will do well with convict fish. No, they'll be, I don't know, there's something about the name of convict fish that just doesn't, and so then, you know, like a week later, only the convict fish were left. But anyway, anytime ninjing to go and get to the TV, then I'd have to go onto one of the couches, but I had to be careful because it was an older couch, because like, not gonna touch the rocking chair, obviously, as wooden rocking chair, obviously gonna make noise, and so it didn't matter, it was on carpet at all. And so then, you know, I would be able to get to the couch, get down, and then that's why I had to wake up early, because I had to move the television without making a sound, and it was on a wooden stand. So, and the TVs back in the 1990s, for those who don't know, were not thin, and they were not light. They were very, very, they were, what was that one? I think it was a Magnavox, and so it was like 30 or 32 inches, which means like, and that was just the screen size. That didn't account for like the buttons and stuff like that, and then the back, and had to slowly move that. Sometimes it took a little bit longer, so that was why I had to wake up early, because I had to be able to ninja my way down the stairs, but not, and then ninja, like, I had to plan for that, and then I had to make sure I had enough time to move it, because that TV had to be moved 6 or 7 inches in order for me to be able to watch Sailor Moon without being caught. That was me being a rebel as a child and a teenager. I would sneak downstairs early to watch Sailor Moon, and I got caught a few times, which is how I learned it needed to be 6 or 7 inches on that regard. Oh, in a different direction, because yeah, I learned the hard way. I got my ass beat so bad. Oh, so bad. Get up, Sadie. What am I saying? But yeah, I had to do that, and then by the time I would get upstairs, then I could just be in the bed listening to the radio and stuff like that. And I could not use the excuse of I'm going downstairs to use the restroom, because, you know, as soon as using that area, better hear that I did not use the stairs to go down. So because I didn't use the stairs to go down, it would have been known. It would have been known. How'd you get down the stairs? And that I couldn't tell a lie, so that I would have tattletaled on myself. So there were a few times where I actually had to go all the way back up the stairs to get to my bed, to get out of the bed, to then walk down the stairs, to then go to the bathroom, to then go back up the stairs, because, yeah. That was not fun at all. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. But yeah, so in reference to the Z100, Z Morning Zoo, that was me. I don't know whether or not you guys figured that out by now, but that was me. I don't know what my prize was supposed to be, but you know, no, it was supposed to be more than a t-shirt. But yeah, you guys have a good one. I just thought that'd be an interesting video. So yeah, have a good one. Oh yeah. Like and share and subscribe and all that stuff.